Salute, MobTube. How is everybody today? Let's see who we got here. Edward Everett, Dave, Miss Can't Be Wrong, Cinnamon Muff, Jenko Abendando, Drew Scagnetti. It's me, Michael Hensley, Mikhail One, Casey Robinson, Tears. Yeah, bro, Tears, you know why? I just did it. I haven't seen you in so long. If I haven't seen anybody for a while, I don't take any chances. You know what I mean? It seems like you haven't been around, so my fault, bro. Let's see. Lucky Luciano, M. Soretti, Steve Cutler, Johnny Mack, OC, Silvio Dante, Jesse Roth. I think that's it for now. 28 people, 30 actually. You guys know how it is. Addiction and recovery shows don't get many viewers. I guess if you think about it, that's probably a good thing. MRE Fertilizer Management, Frank C. I hear you, bro. Not really doing that on this show, but all right. Miss Charlie Steen, how are you? Benny Diova. B. Ray, first time here. Much respect. Oh, thank you. Thank you for your support and for showing up. Gonzo. Gotcha, Tears. Got to be careful. You don't want too many wrenches floating around out there. You know what I mean? If you don't see people for a while, you got to take precautions. So, guys, this is what I want to do today, okay? Now, it's a holiday weekend. I always do an addiction and recovery show. At least I try to. What's up, Tony Ducks and Christopher Capello? This weekend, I wanted to make sure I did one because I'm trying to keep up on them anyway. But I feel it's important on the holiday weekends. You know what I mean? It seems to me that Labor Day is just another day for drinking. I could be wrong, but seems like that's what the majority of people do. So I know that can be hard on people. You know what I mean? It doesn't really affect me too much just because I don't, I'm not somebody that goes to barbecues and cookouts and social events on Labor Day. You know what I mean? I really don't. But I'm sure some people do. You go to family functions, things like that. And it's all around you. So I figure we'll have an open discussion today. And if anybody wants to come on, anybody, and tell their story, I will gladly allow you to do that and encourage you to do so, actually. I'm going to drop the link now. Now, listen, some people are uncomfortable with it. And if you don't want to do it, I understand. We'll figure something else out if not. But if you want to come on and tell your story, there's the link in the chat. These shows are important. If it helps one person, it's a huge win. That is correct. Absolutely. Wow, Christopher Capello, how dare you? James Proctor, PMP. Glad you guys are doing the addiction show. Holidays are a tough time for many. Yeah, absolutely. And if nothing else, it's the extended weekend. It's, another day off work. So it could be tough for people. Gonzo, I was a daily drinker, alcoholic, stopped 16 years ago. Well, congrats, my friend. Congrats on your sober time and stay strong, bro. By the way, as you could see in the ticker here, there's the phone number for the National Addiction Hotline. Also, and I didn't know this, the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline, all you have to do to reach them is dial 988 now. Okay, you don't have to use that full phone number. They still have the phone number, but it's not necessary anymore. So if anybody needs that, please jot it down, put it in your wallet or something, keep it on you, Nobody's grabbing the link yet. That's understood. I know it's tough for some people to talk about. And if they don't, it's no big deal. We'll just, talk from the chat, whatever else. Maybe I'll tell you some of my own experiences. But as we get more people in here, if anybody wants to grab the link, they can. Dylan Chase, FPS, your show is my drug of choice, bro. You have family here in Orlando, FPS. Thank you, Dylan. I appreciate that. And shout out to Orlando. Tears. People don't realize addiction isn't a choice after you're stuck deep into it. I feel bad for the ones who get judged. Me too. Well, you hear it a lot on here. And I'll just bring this up for example. I don't like to talk too much mob tube stuff on these shows, but we are on MobTube, and sometimes you got to integrate some things. Lee recently made some comments, and so did Danny about you know, everybody over here being drug addicts. First of all, that's far from true, as you can tell, because right now I have 63 people here on an addiction and recovery show, and I generally average around 300. Okay, so that's not true. And even as far as the content creators go, that's not true. But even if it was, Lee and Danny, even if it was, so what? What are you guys better than them? But by the way, I mean, you two specifically aren't. Lee, I know for a fact, is an active drug addict. But let's just say you weren't. Let's just say you were squeaky clean, never did a drug or took a sip of an alcoholic beverage in your life. You're better than us? No, you're not. You're absolutely not. It just means people have different struggles and different ways of dealing with them. If you want to label that weakness in some way, I don't know, maybe you can, but I'll tell you what, the people who are in recovery are far from weak. Okay. Because if you never had a struggle with addiction and they have, and they've overcome it, then that's one more thing they've overcome in their life than you have. Okay. So I don't like all the judging either. I don't like people throwing around the word junkie about just random people, whether or not they've had an addiction. But it's used these days as an insult only. Okay, it's used to describe not just people who have drug addiction problems, but anybody they don't like. So I guess they can do that. But Lee, if you're living in a glass house, you know the expression, right? And not just him. We've gotten it from other content creators on here. You hear Josie all the time talking about drug addicts, but she's a full blown alcoholic. You know what I mean? She's drunk all the time. So, you get it from people who have their own issues. They're just not willing to speak about them or let anyone know it's a secret, you know? Maybe that makes us stronger because we are willing to talk about our issues and we're not embarrassed about it or ashamed of it. PK Sal Crook, what's up, bro? Christopher Capello, I used to hate counselors who never had problems with drugs and alcohol. I used to call them out on it, LOL. Well, listen, I understand, and I'm not going to say nobody like that should be a drug and alcohol counselor. I'm not going to say you should only be in that field if you have experience with it. But I will say the better ones, of course, are the ones who've experienced it firsthand. The better drug and alcohol counselors will always be the people who have a past, a history of either alcohol abuse, drug abuse, or both. It is kind of what's the word I'm looking for? Senseless in a way to make someone without a history of alcohol and drug addiction a drug and alcohol counselor. But listen, I guess if you get a degree, you can get a job doing anything, right? BT 999. Doing God's work, my friend. You're doing a great thing here, Coney Island, BT. Oh, thank you, bro. Thank you very much. I don't know about doing God's work, but I'm doing my best to help. George Lovelace, hello. I'm a newer sub from Philadelphia. Was addicted crack coke for almost 20 years. Been clean from it since 2008. Hopefully, this gives someone hope. Hopefully, and congrats, bro, on your clean time. And yeah, it's not an easy addiction to kick. 20 years is a long time, too, my friend. Congrats. Um, I've never had addiction issues, says Jesse Roth. I suffer more from depression and anxiety, but these shows have taught me addiction stems from those problems and I'm not alone. Oh, without a doubt, Jesse. Oh, my God. Listen, my story, I'll tell you straight up. And it's funny because we were watching Scarface last night, me and my wife, a romantic movie, lights off, candles lit, watching Scarface. And I told her about the first time I used cocaine. I was actually, of course, watching that movie and I had some. Well, I had a lot because I was selling it. And it looked like a good idea. But during that time period, I was in such a deep clinical depression. I had so many issues going on in my head and everything else. I was a hypochondriac. I was at the doctor all the time thinking there was things wrong with me. I was convinced I had cancer of some sort. I was going through a lot. It was hard to lift my head in the morning or even get out of bed. And that's without a doubt the origins of my drug and alcohol abuse. Now, don't get me wrong, I partied with alcohol before that, drinking and shit as a teenager, but it didn't become an addiction until I was actually, in a severe clinical depression and I was using it to go to sleep at night and to calm my anxiety. And it's also the time that I decided, hey, cocaine would be a good choice too. That was how my mind was working at the time. Let me bring on Coney Island.
Yo, what's up, buddy?
What's up, bro? How you doing?
I'm all right, man. I'm all right. Just taking it easy, man. I'm not trying to veer off the subject, but those two old pricks,
Yeah,
they're talking a lot of shit, bro.
I
You
know.
know, a lot of shit about you too. They roasted me one day. They won't let me get on the show. Those little faggots, you know.
Yeah.
And I'm
Well,
sorry for going this way, but and I hear them talking a lot of shit about you, kid. I know they're minor league compared to you, bro, but you know, you got to just flop the swise, bro. Two retards over there, man.
I know. And listen, I appreciate you coming on to say that. It'd be better on maybe tonight's show. But I try to keep this stuff, these shows just to addiction and recovery.
Yeah, yeah. My bad. You know what I mean?
No,
I
it's
didn't
all
know you
good.
were
It's
gonna.
all good.
I didn't know. You were gonna do another regular one. I know it's not the time, but yeah, man. I forgot that you're an atheist, that you don't believe, but it's all good. I'm sure you believe in something. This is great.
Yeah.
If you could touch one person out there, man.
Thank you,
Um,
man. Yeah.
everybody has their demons, their struggles, whatever they may be, drugs, gambling, sex, you know. I think it all intertwines into one,
Yeah,
you
I think
know.
so too, bro. Yeah. Yeah, and I like doing these shows, man, because like you said, if it helps anyone, it's worth it. And I know for a fact it's helped some people, at least momentarily. So it's worth it.
Yeah, and they talk so much stuff about you. Oh, you're just about the money, about the money. If you were just about the money, you want to do this, man, and look good, you're a good person. You're a good person, and just keep doing you, and, you know, king of mob tube, right?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Yeah, 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 man. Yeah. I don't know how you do it, man, Um, with like you put your name into Google and what do you got about probably 30 people talk, right? 30 people just talking about you, like making pages about you. It's
What
crazy.
if you put Fat Bold Sicilian in?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
right?
Well, but yeah, but listen, that's listen, the way life works, human nature, bro. People aren't talking about you and obsessed with you and trolling you and hating on you unless you're doing something and doing it really, really well. You know what I mean? You got to be doing something right. That's that's the only time, bro. Otherwise, they're not concerned with you.
Yeah, it's true. And
So
the,
it's
the little
flattering to some extent.
true, the little fish try and hang on, and if you don't mention their names, they're minute. You
Yeah.
don't hear of them, but you know, it is what it is. About this, I don't have really too much to talk about this subject myself, but I grew up in a really, a neighborhood that was fucking.
The fuck happened? He disappeared. Coney Island, I'll drop the link again. I don't know what happened to you. The link is in the chat. You can come back on. Let me read some comments until then. James Proctor, PMP. I stopped drinking around 10 years ago. I was ashamed of my behavior when I would drink. My first wife and I divorced, and I started drinking. Glad I stopped. I hear you, bro. Listen, first of all, congrats on the 10 years clean. But the divorce thing, I can relate to. I've had a lot of my serious runs of severe addiction have come after breakups and things like that. It's very difficult. So I hear you, bro, and congrats on the 10 years again. And stay strong, my man. Let me put Coney Island back on. What's up, bro? What happened?
I don't know, bro. Bro, I don't even have a computer anymore. I got an iPad, and I got a call, and it just fucking shot everything off. I don't know why. I pressed something. Yeah. Sorry that, but like as my namesake, Coney Island, and you're a city kid yourself. You moved away when you were young or whatever. So I'm sure you heard of Coney Island was ravaged with drugs, bro.
Trust me,
So
my family's from Bensonhurst and Bay Ridge, bro. So I was in Gravesend and Coney Island and shit. Yeah.
yeah, Bensonhurst had a lot of all kinds of anything you wanted. Well, not as much as Coney Island. Coney Island was more out in the open.
Yeah.
Because it was more, it was a ghetto. Bensonhurst wasn't a ghetto.
I remember Coney Island as a kid. Yeah, it was absolutely. It was rough.
Yeah, but people just think Coney Island the rides. There's a neighborhood. There's three
Yeah.
blocks. There's three fucking blocks, one way in, one way out, bro. And if you don't know, that one way in, you shouldn't be there. Even to
Yeah.
this day, and there's like 25 new buildings going up now. It's amazing. That's good for the neighborhood. But there's still some blocks that you better have your head on a swivel walking down the block, bro.
Yeah, absolutely. So you ever have any struggles with a drug or alcohol addiction, bro?
No. Thank God, man.
Yeah, that's good.
Knock on wood. Yeah.
Well, listen,
But
thanks for joining us anyway on this stream. But if you want to come back on, I'll be back on tonight doing my usual thing. If you want to come back on and talk MobTube and about these scumbags, bro, you're more than welcome, always.
are you gonna come back on? All right, good. What time you coming on, bro?
I'd say 9 or 10, something like that. I got to see what Gunsmoke and everybody's doing, but probably around 10ish. Yo.
All right, bro. I'll talk to you.
All right. Yeah, I don't know what happened. The sound cut out for a second there too. James Proctor, PMP. I would drink 2 to 3 or 4 drinks and be fine, but then all of a sudden I would just snap into this bad person. Once I got my 4th or 5th drink, there wasn't a transition from being fun to being a jerk. Oh, bro, I hear that, man. It happens. It's like the flick of a switch. I was the same way. I could go out and I could drink a certain amount, and I was fun and I was, happy and smiling and the life of the party. And then all of a sudden, one of those drinks at some point, I don't know, caused a change. And I would just become a mean, violent, vicious motherfucker. I really would. It was brutal. And to what you said earlier about being ashamed of your behavior, same thing. I would be disgusted with myself when I'd wake up the next day. And if I was lucky enough to remember anything from the night before, and if not, whenever somebody filled me in on what I did, I would be like, Jesus Christ. Fucking humiliated yourself, treated people like shit, alienated people. And you don't even know what caused the night to take such a turn. Tears. The real thing about this show is nobody else on here in this community actually takes the time to do an addiction show. Salute. Thank you, Tears. Yeah. No, I know, bro. Listen, And I don't do as many as I should either. So I can't even knock anybody. I should be doing at least one a week. But all this other stuff gets in the way. You get distracted. But yeah, that's why I always say too on these shows, like if you want to donate, go right ahead. I won't stop you, but it's not necessary. I don't look for donations on these shows. This is just something to help people and to help myself too. It's therapeutic for me. I'm not gonna lie. So I do what I can, bro. James Proctor, PMP. I was depressed and that's why I drank. Glad I stopped. I did it on my own. Just didn't feel good and my heart would be beating so fast. I finally stopped. I probably abused alcohol about 6, 7 years. Yeah, man, it's good that you stopped, bro. And congrats on that. I don't know how long you've been clean, but I know exactly what you're talking about. That feeling and all that, your heart beating fast. And depression, man, it's such a major cause. You know, it's funny. I had after in 2000, I was in I think it was either 99 or 2000. After I had the seizure and was in critical condition and all that, I went to outpatient, IPP, intensive or IOP, intensive outpatient program. Um, intensive outpatient? I don't know what I'm saying here. And it was, you guys know, anybody who's ever been an IOP, it's kind of like a 3 hour a day long, AA meeting. You know what I mean? At least that's what it was for me. I think I went 3 hours a day, 3 days a week, something like that. And we do the usual. We'd sit around and do little, we would tell our story and talk about our struggles with addiction and get to know each other. And, it was cool. You kind of become like a little family. You go out and smoke cigarettes together and talk to each other, get a little more personal than you might in the actual group, stuff like that. And it was good for me because I felt like I had another family that I didn't want to let down. You know what I'm saying? I would watch people who would come in on Monday and say, guys, I have bad news. I relapsed over the weekend. And I never wanted to be that person because I felt like that person was kind of letting down the group. Now, that's not true. People struggle. Relapse is part of recovery. But at the time, that's how I felt. I felt like I would be letting everybody down if I relapsed. So it helped me in that way. And I forget the reason why I even started telling this story. Let me see. Oh, the depression thing. I after IOP, I completed it successfully and all that stuff. Like it was good for me. There's no doubt. During the time I was going to those IOP meetings, I definitely, I felt very strong in my sobriety and my recovery and stuff. And I stayed clean for a couple of years after that. But the reason I brought it up is because the thing about depression, I found a card somewhere. I don't want to call it a greeting card. It was some sort of card that talked about like the whole front of the card, was about depression and what depression does to you and stuff like that. I think it was like some sort of get well card, something like that, but it was about the clinical depression. And the things that were written on this card, what it said about depression and what it causes and how it makes people feel and how bad it gets. It was incredible. It was like reading it, being somebody who was clinically depressed for a pretty long time was amazing. So I remember I made copies of it and I gave it out to everybody in my IOP group. And so many people could relate to it because so many of them began abusing alcohol and drugs due to their clinical depression. The depression always came first, never second. Now, there is times when you quit doing certain drugs or alcohol or any drugs or alcohol. Certain people do fall into a clinical depression because of that. But in this scenario, this intensive outpatient program I was in, Everybody in there seemed to have the same story, and it all started out of clinical depression. So I wish I would have kept a copy of that card because it really was so well written, and it almost defined clinical depression. It was amazing. Oh yeah, Miss can't be wrong without a doubt. Don Berlin, this is Kimberly, Don's wife, and Chris and Shauna. As you know, he's been deployed forever, but thanks for all you have done for him, and thanks to all his friends. I love him dearly and miss him. Well, listen, Kimberly, I wish he wasn't in the situation he was in. I wish he was at home with you. I actually have to email him today. I got to get back to him on something he sent. Um, an email he sent a couple days ago. I'm just terrible with getting back to email. It takes me forever. So I wish you the best and him, of course. And hopefully I'll be talking to him soon. And hopefully he's home with you soon, Kimberly. He is. Don Berlin is a great man. He really is. Intelligent. I mean, oh my God. I sat outside smoking a cigar one day and talked to him on the phone and just listened to him for about an hour. And I learned so much from that conversation. I was like, what a great guy. Uh, very kind, generous individual, too. Steve Cutler says, stay blessed and safe, Don Berlin. Yes, yes. Be safe, my friend. James Proctor, PMP. Chris, you were in a bad mood last night. You seem like your regular self today. Good seeing you doing well today. Yeah, I was in a bad mood because the fucking stream, I kept ending it. It's the only reason I was in a bad mood. I wasn't when I first came on, but no, I'm fine today. I'm just tired. I'm very very tired. I got up. I didn't sleep much. Put it that way. I got up extra early. I had a lot of stuff to do, so I'm pretty beat. Teresa, the baby Marie. Hey, Chris. Hope you and the family are having a great holiday weekend. Great show. Same to you, and thank you, Teresa. The squeege. 1994, I got a DUI causing bodily harm, no serious injuries to other party, but it's just one thing drinking complicated. It's just one thing drinking complicating my life. Uh, Trouble followed me every time I drank. Well, see, shit like that, something like that, causing a car accident due to your DUI, driving under the influence. I can't imagine the guilt some people have to live with, and even you yourself. Now, luckily, in your situation, there were no serious injuries, but I've heard some horror stories. And when you go to those DUI classes, trust me, they shove them right down your throat. They tell you about all these horrible things. They make you watch videos, and by the time you leave those classes, you feel like shit about yourself. Um, Forever driving drunk. But yeah, there's things like that you do when you're under the influence. You have a few drinks at a bar, you think you're fine. Then you wind up killing a couple of people in a car accident. And you got to live with that for the rest of your fucking life. It's so funny that you said that about, one more thing, drinking complicated in your life. At least I think that's what you meant. Um, I've thought about it 1,000 times, guys, and I'm sure you have too. Till this day, you think I'm not filled with regrets and sadness for shit that I've done in my past? Every day, you can see it on me sometimes. A lot of the time, when I'm in a certain type of mood, I'm in my head. I'm thinking about shit. I'm feeling guilty about things. I'm depressed in a way. I'm sad. I'm sure, like a lot of you guys are, a lot of the time. And I from time to time think about what would life have been like if I never had a drink or if I was never introduced to cocaine. What would life have been like? Now, listen, I'm fortunate enough to be in a situation where I can honestly say if everything in my life um, led me to where I am today, then I don't regret any of it. But at the same time, you know, even though I'm very happy where I am now, I always sit back and wonder, you know, what if I never had a drink or did a drug? What would life be like? And I'll never know, just like no one else ever will. But it's something that haunts you as somebody with a past, you know, a history of alcohol and drug abuse. I mean, without a doubt, it's something everybody has to ask themselves from time to time. Even though it's not good to do, it's something you can't really help. It's the jacket. When we were 19 or 20 in the late 90s, it was all about Coke, Xanax, and ecstasy. I was never addicted but loved partying on the weekends. We knew overdoses were possible, but it was very rare, unlike today. Yeah, bro, I know. Trust me. Yeah, we all took chances, and you're obviously around my age. Yeah, we all took chances. And a lot of us are very lucky to be alive today. But just imagine what it's like now. It's the jacket. Imagine. I mean, like you said, we were fucking with Coke, Xanax, ecstasy, Xanax. I listen. I'll tell you the truth. I didn't take a Xanax till I was probably 30 fucking years old. So that was not a big thing where I was living and shit. Not at all. I knew guys that every now and then would get a hold of some Valium and take that and stuff, but Xanax was not big for me in the 90s or my crew. But Coke and ecstasy and shit, sure. Even acid, shit like that. Meth started to come around. I had a couple of friends who tried meth. But like I said, there was really no heroin or anything around us at that time. I guess it's just different depending on where you live, who you hung out with, shit like that. Drop what info? Hold on, let me try to catch up here. I'm not sure, Gonzo, what info you mean. Sounds like you're talking mob tube stuff, though. Chunky Chunko, how's it going, FBS? Thanks again for everything yesterday. You don't have to thank me, bro. Thank everybody in here. Thank everybody on my show later. But listen, you don't even have to thank them. People subscribe because they wanted to. You do a great fucking job. Your channel is amazing. And congratulations, bro, on being over 1,000 subs. And hopefully you'll be monetized any day now. Hold on. Mikey Ritz at Tears. That's exactly why I've always fucked with FPS from day one, because he actually does have a good heart, and I've seen him help many people with my own eyes, even though he got screwed over a lot. Yeah, it is what it is, though. But thank you, Mikey Ritz. Yeah, listen, I like I said, I always would. I always would. If somebody called me tonight and said, Chris, I'm about to go grab a bag and, I'm afraid it might be my last one. I need help. And, if I can help you in any way, if I can come pick you up, even if I have to drive a long, long distance, pick you up, take you somewhere, get you in a detox or a rehab, I gladly will. If you just need help with, maybe I can, I'm good with research. Maybe you need to find resources to get yourself in a place. Maybe you need to find a facility. If I can help you with that, gladly. Shanna, too. Anybody struggling with addiction, depression, suicidal thoughts, anything I can do to help, I gladly will. I promise you that. Common sense. Happy Labor Day weekend, everybody. May everyone have a safe and happy holiday. Do not drink and drive. Well said, bro. Yeah, that's another thing, guys. Anybody who does drink or party this weekend or ever, at this point, it's 2022. There was never any excuse for drinking and driving. It was always bad. But now there's really no excuse. Okay, now Uber, fucking Lyft, all these other services and shit. There's a million different ways to get transportation. 24 hours a day, no matter where you are in America. So use those services. Don't drink and drive. Because look at what one of the subs just said a few minutes ago. I'm sorry, I forget which one it was. He was in an accident that caused bodily harm. It wasn't serious, but these are things you got to live with afterwards. So sorry, I said one of the subs. I forgot who it was. No common sense. I haven't, but I have Googled him and stuff to try to see if there's any articles or anything worse. I haven't found anything. That's probably good news. I hope he's okay, but he hasn't contacted me in months, so I don't know, bro. I hope he's okay. Oh, and by the way, it's very kind of you, James Proctor. $20 for thanks for sharing your story. Definitely relate to you. Oh, well, thank you, James. Thank you. Yeah, that's the great part about like when we do these specific addiction and recovery streams is it's all the same people. I mean, it's not as many, but everybody that's in here, you guys know from the other shows we do and stuff, the regular mob tube shit. But the people that come to these specific streams can all relate to each other as far as this addiction and recovery thing. You know what I mean? So it's a good place to get support from other people in the chat, from each other in general. And that includes me. So these shows are important. I believe they are. Hold on. Let me just read some comments, guys, because Gonzo unfortunately had a back neck surgery fusion and was prescribed Valium and Percocet and got addicted to pills. Almost killed me. Well, see, Gonzo, that's another fucking thing. Ain't that some shit? And it does piss me off. Now I know some of those things that are prescribed are necessary. There's people who live with chronic pain and would probably rather be dead than deal with the pain they deal with on a daily basis. And listen, things like Valium, of course, these can be crucial in helping somebody with anxiety, sleep, whatever it may be. But they're so overprescribed, even till this day. You know what I mean? And it's not the street shit anymore that's getting people hooked and then eventually killing them. It's the pharmaceutical stuff. It's the pain pills, it's the benzos, it's all that shit. So, it is aggravating to hear stories like that. But maybe you needed it, and you just. What do you do though? That's the question. What do you do now? There's got to be a better fucking alternative someday, and I think we're long overdue. What happens if you hurt yourself, and you're in so much fucking pain that you can't live with it? You got two choices: suffer or take these pills that you're going to wind up addicted to, and then you could possibly be affected for the rest of your life from the addiction to those pills. It could wind up being a lifetime addiction, or maybe years long, and so much damage is done that you never recover just from that addiction. I mean, I don't know. There's got to be some alternative. There has to be. The fuck do people do? They have no choice. You live with chronic pain. I mean, sometimes it's too much. I'm sure people have it so bad they can't sleep, they can't function, they can't work, they can't do anything. So it's not like you could just say, well, if they prescribe you Oxy or something, don't take it. You might have no choice. But then you're fucked. Takes a few days to get hooked on that shit. So I don't know. I don't know. I had a friend though. His son sprained his fucking ankle playing baseball, and they gave him a 30-day prescription of oxycodone. Okay, I don't know. I don't know what it was specifically. Might have been Percocet. I'm not sure, but still, I told him, don't fucking give him that. Are you kidding me? It's nuts what they'll prescribe. You managed to get them in. This is like the fourth A&R that I caught live. Oh, good, man. Good. Yeah. Listen, this is what FBS has to do. This is what I have to work on. Okay. I have to work on getting my shit in order as far as this, whole YouTuber podcaster thing. Okay. I have to get, I have to start working on that other channel with some mob shows and stuff I want to do. I have to get moving on the podcast. That's actually my first priority. And I have some other plans. But I definitely need to figure out a definite schedule for these addiction and recovery shows so I can do them at the same time every week, something like that. So I've been on here for over a year, and I'm just now getting serious about getting a little organized. You know what I mean? I'm going to do my best, but it might take time. James Proctor, PMP. What caused me to stop drinking was when I got in a fight with a taxi driver in Medellin, Colombia. I had to pay off the cops to keep from being in a third world jail. I finally stopped after that event. Holy fuck. Yeah, I think that would be a breaking point for most people. Gilded Age, FBS, you are doing a great service here. I grew up with an alcoholic dad. He would go from being the life of the party and then to the devil. I spent my life from one user to another. It was all I knew. Yeah, that's tough, man. That's tough. And thank you for the compliment, by the way. But yeah, I mean, see, I didn't deal with that. I grew up with two parents who never, I mean, my mom and dad would have a beer like once a year. So, well, my mom would have like a glass of wine or maybe some sort of mixed drink. My dad would have a beer maybe once a year on like an occasion, something like that. My dad never did drugs. My mom never touched a drug in her life. So I wasn't really around it. My brother had some addiction issues, when he was younger, but not really, nothing severe. I mean, he just, he abused drugs a little bit here and there. I did have an uncle who was a pretty severe alcoholic, but that's it. I mean, I didn't grow up with addiction around me. So, although the whole, genetics thing does play a part, I'm sure, in what they call a disease. If you come from a family of alcoholics or whatever, you're more likely to become one. I'm sure that's true. There's some, scientific reasons um, for why some people are more prone to addiction than others, but it certainly isn't just that. I mean, anybody can become an addict, no matter what. You don't have to have it running in your family or anything like that. Uh, all you got to do is make the choice to use alcohol or drugs, and you're taking the chance of becoming addicted. That's it. Whether it's in your fucking DNA or not. That's why the disease thing with me. I understand that there is some aspects to the explanation of why addiction is a disease that I can get on board with. But I generally don't use that. I call it an excuse because I knew what I was doing. I made a choice. You know what I mean? I made a choice. No matter how young I was, I don't care. I have no excuses. I knew alcohol was addictive and I decided to drink. I knew cocaine was addictive and I decided to use cocaine. So that's it. Nothing made me an addict other than myself and my own choices. So that's just the way I see it. Let me oh man, I hate missing any comments in here, but I want to get down to the bottom. Teresa, the baby Marie, I lost two brothers to addiction. I'm so sorry. I don't want to get upset. You're doing a great thing, FBS, but I hear people's stories and I carry them with me. If I know you or not, I do hold that pain. Well, you're an empathetic person, Teresa, and that says a lot about you. Um, some people they look down on people who have these sad stories from addiction and stuff, or they judge them or whatever. But yeah, um, it's hard if you're a good person with a conscience, um, and you hate to see people suffer. It's hard not to kind of hold that pain, like you're saying, even for others. And I'm sorry about the loss of your two brothers. That's horrible. Did I ever go to a formal program like AA? When I was a kid, not a kid, 19, 20, whatever, and I had that seizure after the outpatient, you know, they tried to talk me into starting up with meetings. A couple I sat like in, like the one I remember was in York Hospital here. I think it was called the Green Meeting or something. It's like a green room. And they have it in there, but it's like right off the cafeteria. You know what I mean? In the hospital. And I think once or twice sat in the cafeteria and listened, but I didn't take part in it. And when I was in rehab, I didn't attend AA. There were certain classes that were required and certain that were optional. And AA meetings were optional. And I always refused to do AA. I did Refuge a couple of times. I did stuff like that. AA wasn't for me for obvious reasons. I'm an atheist. It's a Christianity based thing. It's just not for me. But after that, I would go speak at them. You know what I mean? Because I figured my story would help people and I wanted to get it out there. That's what I'm planning on doing about my story. So I would go back to the rehab I was in on Sundays after I left. I did it for a while, and I would go in and speak and tell my story, and get to know the other people, in the new class, if you want to call it that. And it was therapeutic for me, and from what the people there told me, it helped them too. And till this day, if I find a situation where I can go speak and tell my story, I do that. Whether it's at a rehab or an AA meeting or whatever. But listen, I don't knock anybody that uses AA, as a tool or a resource, whatever, to help them in their recovery. I just don't. It's just not for me personally. But if it helps you, do it. I mean, why not? I'm going to skip down here a little bit. I hate to skip anyone's comments during these streams, but there's no way I could read them all. Gonzo, $20 super sticker. Thank you, bro. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. R.I.P. Pat Stay. What? You're fucking around, right? Common sense? Pat Stay is my favorite battle rapper of all time. You're fucking around, right? Hold on. Wait a minute. Oh my God. No fucking way. Holy shit, bro. Oh my God. Bro, I watch his old battles and shit all the time. I have probably 90% of them memorized. That's my favorite fucking battle rapper. Holy shit, he was stabbed to death, 36 years old. Oh my God. That's so sad, bro. That guy is so fucking talented. Was a monster of a guy too. I think he was like 6'6" and big. Holy fuck! I can't believe Pat Stay died. Jesus Christ. Oh man. Maybe I can figure out a way to put some of his battle raps up. That's a fucking shame, bro. FBS, but would you help Lee? You suck, Brooklyn Rob one. um, if Lee wanted to help himself and really needed help, and for some reason I was the only person he could turn to, yes, I would help Lee. Yes, absolutely. I would just be forced to keep my eye on the ball and not think about the past. But yes, I would help Lee. Oh, it's a shame, MRE Fertilizer Management. Wow. I can't believe that. FBS, how's Drager doing? Haven't seen him in the chats at all. I don't know, man. That's what I was talking about a minute ago when I was referring to common sense. It's, I worry about that dude. I don't know. I don't know. I don't like to get into too much of his business. But I will tell you what he has already spoken about, and I know it's fine with him saying. You guys remember in the beginning, Drager would come on the shows. He was struggling. One night, um, he had his daughter in his apartment, I think, with his mom, and he was getting ready to go to Kensington to cop. And we talked him out of it, and it was nice. He went inside. He, woke his daughter up. They watched the movie together. It was a beautiful thing. He came on a couple of times after that when he was struggling with things, and we were able to talk him off a cliff, so to speak. And then one night, it was a Sunday night, he called me, and he was in a panic, and he was, fucked up, and he was talking about, he was at his rock bottom and he needed help. And I said, well, bro, I'll leave now and I'll come get you. He lives in Philly. He lives about an hour and a half away. Where he was in Philly, it's about an hour and a half away. And he said, nah, bro, not tonight. I'm not going tonight. I'm going to get high one more time. That made me fucking very nervous. I tried to talk him out of it, but I knew there was no talking him out of it. So he said, come get me in the morning. I said, I'll be there first thing in the morning. So I got up like 7 a.m., drove to Philly, picked him up, took him to a detox in Hackensack, New Jersey. We hung out for a little bit. I sat with him in the lobby, and waited for them to take him back for his intake. I got to know him a little bit. I think Drager's a hell of a kid. I think he has a lot going for him. I just wanted to see him get better. So I waited with him until they took him back for his intake. And then, we said our goodbyes and I left and I drove back home. He did his thing. He was in detox for about 2 weeks, I believe. I forget what exactly he went on to do after that. But I know he struggled again after detox. He wasn't exactly clean and sober. Sorry, I'm getting text. For whatever, I don't know. He didn't stay clean and sober after that detox. He did struggle after that. He relapsed several times. He did call me at one point and tell me he had a real bad relapse where he started using again and got in some legal trouble, went to jail for a while and all that shit. But I don't know what he's up to now. I mean, he was in the chats again up until a few months ago and disappeared. I hope he's okay. I really do. I'd rather hear him say that he just hates my guts and doesn't want to be part of this show anymore than to find out something happened to him. But I check every now and then. I Google, I check on him. I see if, God forbid, there's an obituary or a newspaper article, he got arrested or something. I never find anything. So I just hope that he's okay. That's all. And if he ever needs me again, I'll be right there for him. in a matter of hours. But I just hope he's all right. I really do. I worry about him. Shanna has cried a lot of tears over Chris Drager. Absolutely. Thanks for sharing the hardships of addiction. Oh, of course, bro. Of course. We got to talk about this stuff. It's important. Jesse Roth, the company I work for, at our Christmas party every year, they'll pay for an Uber home if you're too drunk, or we'll have someone sober drive you home. That's good. That's good. That's a good service to provide. Jukebox J, good luck to anyone struggling with addiction issues out there. Remember, it's one day at a time. Never give up. Yes, sir. Jesse Roth, oh my God, pills are overprescribed. I want neck injections, but my pain management doctor keeps prescribing pills. I don't take them most of the time. Well, I'm sure it's hard not to. And yeah, common sense, responding to your texts, bro. He was the GOAT, without a doubt. Pat Stay was a fucking monster. I'm telling you, I probably got every one of his fucking freestyle battles memorized. My favorite battle rapper of all time. I used to make Shanna sit through Pat Stay battles. That's fucked up, man. I can't believe that. Wife and young children, yeah. Crazy, bro. I got something in my fucking eye and I can't see. What the fuck is going on? There are a lot of new research being done, but do not forget Big Pharma and lobbying. They got money they crack down, but still many are overprescribed because they need to hit them quotas. Of course, bro. It's big business, unfortunately, man. It's fucking sad. I'm clean from drugs, just cannabis. Well, listen, I'm not one to judge. My thing. My thing is if I'm clean and sober, I'm clean and sober. I do nothing. But if cannabis helps people to stay off of things like cocaine and heroin, more power to you. It's the lesser evil. You know what I mean? So I don't knock anybody. It's just not for me. If I was smoking weed, I wouldn't be able to consider myself clean. That's the way I see it. You know what I mean? What was I gonna say about that? There was something else too. Oh, this fucking not to veer off onto a mob tube thing, but this angel, fucking moron. I'm going to talk about this later. A week ago or something, she did a show where she was talking about, and he's not clean. He's taking that, what's it called? That no, the gabapentin, the something like that. Gabapentin, she's talking about. I'm going to do a whole thing on this on my show later. But Angel, you do realize that gabapentin, number one, is not a narcotic, and number two, it's widely prescribed in rehabs. Just want to fill you in, stupid. Sorry, guys. I never took a painkiller, so I don't know what that feels like. My thing was all alcohol. Well, listen, that's good. That's good because as hard as alcohol is to kick, I am, of the belief that there's nothing worse than those fucking opiates and shit. I could be wrong. I just, you know, from my experience, from what I've seen from friends of mine and shit that have been addicted to those painkillers, there's nothing harder. And I don't mean harder to quit. I think alcohol is the hardest thing in the world to quit. But I think the opiates are the hardest things to um, stay away from, as far as, staying clean. I think I think relapse is more likely than with opiates than any other drug. That's what I'm saying. It appears to me that it's harder to stay off of opiates than it is to stay off of anything else. I could be wrong, but I would think that would almost be a fact. I would think the relapse rate is higher in opiate addicts than even in alcoholics, but I could be wrong. I should look that up. I got to go way down here. Fucking Pat Stay. I can't fucking believe that, bro. Mustache Pete, that's fucking crazy, man. Stabbed to death, bro. Guys, listen, I don't know how many of you are into rap, hip hop, whatever, or battle rap, but if you don't know who Pat Stay is, check this guy out. Because this guy isn't just, he's not a battle rapper that's threatening people and acting tough. And it's all comedy and shit. He fucking roasts people while he's battling them. And he's just good at what he does. He's a fucking monster. And I mean, in every sense of the word, like I said, the dude was like 6'6" and had to be, I'd say, 250 solid fucking muscle. I mean, a big boy. That's probably why he got stabbed. He's probably whooping somebody's ass. The whole battle rap community has been mourning him since early this morning. From what I've seen, he was nice. Oh, he was a beast. That's crazy, man. Holy shit. Support groups are really good. Good show. A change from the usual. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I try. I try to fit them in as much as I can. And like I said, I need to be doing them more. There's no excuse for me not doing these regularly. Not today. I have to go, but thanks for being the most for real motherfucker on MobTube. You are solid. I know because I tried to dox you before you gave your information out. A fucking beast. Love. Well, thanks, bro. Thanks for the kind words, I guess. Let's see. Oh man, yeah, it's so fucked up. He probably got in a fight or something. Let me see what it says. Yeah, you know what? Let me veer off, guys, for a second, and I'm gonna read because this Pat Stay thing. I know a lot of people in the audience are interested. All right. The music world is mourning the death of rapper Pat Stay. Police say the artist was rushed to the hospital after being stabbed in the early morning hours near the waterfront, Halifax, Nova Scotia, Canada, but later succumbed to his injuries. Investigators did not name the guilt by association rapper as the victim, but his brother Pete Stay confirmed the death to CBS News. Jesus Christ. See what else it says. They're showing his last Instagram post. From the video posted on his Instagram stories, it appears the hip hop star was in Halifax to attend the wedding of some friends who met while they were both at the rapper's apartment. On Saturday, September 3rd, Pat shared the video for his new single, The Game Diss, Pat Stay featuring Caleb Simmons, warm up on Instagram. The song was the result of the song was the result of criticism the game made against Eminem and his song The Black Slim Shady. That shit was corny, by the way, Game. The back-to-back artists challenged the game to a rap battle after the 10-minute release went public, but the game decided to block Stay rather than engage. Yeah, he didn't want none of that. That's fucking crazy, man. Oh, bro. That's so fucked up, man. Let me see if there's any other details real quick. It just says a fatal stabbing in downtown Halifax. Fucking nuts. Let me get down here. Yeah, I wish you would, Miss Can't Be Wrong. Mustache Pete, I hope you help a lot of people. Much respect. Yes, he does. Mustache Pete is a good man. FBS, if you had a real job, you wouldn't be available to help people. You got that right. You got that right. Argo, alcohol addiction runs in my whole family on my dad's side, and it carried down to each child. I'm the only one who took addiction to narco. My brother can use and never touch again. Excuse me, but he's a drinker. Let me read that again. Oh, okay, so you're the only one that used narcotics, really. Everyone else was a drinker, it sounds like. Well, it happens that way sometimes too, you know what I mean? But yeah, that is one thing I will say. Like I said, alcohol addiction running in your family is certainly not a requirement for you to become an addict, but it does seem more prevalent in people who were raised in families that that had a lot of addiction in them. Especially when it comes to parents. Let me just text my friend Bill real quick. All right. Benny Diova. My kids had surgeries and I bought this ice machine and we kept it going 20 minutes on and 20 minutes off. They never needed the painkillers because guaranteed 7 to 10 days of taking pain pills will you hooked. Yeah, 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 yeah. It's all it takes. I mean, it really is. It happens so fucking quickly. It's a shame, but like I said, it's you almost have no fucking choice. So I don't know. The withdrawals are very bad from opiates. Yeah, I've seen people go through it. Jeffrey Brzezinski, Chris, compulsive gambler here, worse than any addiction. You know, I always wondered that the gambler thing because I've seen a couple of documentaries and stuff about it. I never really knew anybody who was really, really addicted to gambling. I knew people that liked it a little too much, but I don't think I ever knew anybody that. Well, I guess I can't say that. I knew drug dealers and stuff that would, bet $5,000 on a college basketball game. They'd bet on any fucking thing, um, anything. It's like they said about John Gotti, but they had the money. So I don't know. Does that make it less of a problem if you never have any money issues because of it? Look at Michael Jordan, one of the worst gamblers ever, but he can afford it. But I'd like to hear your story, Jeffrey Brzezinski, because that's one thing I don't have much experience with. Like I said, I don't even know anyone who really was a serious, or anyone who's had a serious gambling addiction. I'd like to hear, the differences. I'd like to hear your story. Is there any chance you'd be willing to come on here right now? Black Hat Music, you can join right now. Listen, I'm going to drop the link. Anybody who wants to join. Jeffrey Brzezinski, gambling destroyed me. That's fucking horrible. I'm sorry to hear that. Bro, I would love to hear your story, man. I just dropped the link. If you would come on right now, that would be fantastic. What the fuck? I don't know. Mustache Pete, painkillers feel amazing to most people. That's why they're so damn addicting. But in the end, just like everything else, it's a temporary escape for a long term problem. Absolutely, bro, it is. BK Salcrook, my son was just telling me he's from Canada. R.I.P. My son's into rap music. Yeah, bro, he's from Nova Scotia, man. Nova Scotia. And such a fucking, talented guy and a good father. And, it's just fucking sad. Yeah, Mustache Pete, I'm sorry I didn't see it till just now. How long ago did you say that? All right, 6 minutes. So, yeah, please grab the link, bro. I'll drop it again. And yeah, it's true about gambling. It's easy to do it anywhere. No, I ain't gonna settle for that. It's nothing important shit, god damn it. Get on here, Mustache Pete. Jeffrey Brzezinski said, "We will talk soon," and it's crazy. Not today, but definitely soon. All right, gotcha, bro. No problem. Black Hat Music can't come on. Well, what the fuck? Mustache Pete, you coming on or what? Gambling addiction is rough, I'd imagine. Yeah, I would imagine because I'll tell you this much. Like I said, we go to the casino from time to time, and it is fucking horrifying how quickly you could go through even $100 bill just on a stupid slot machine, penny slots. I mean, you can go through $100 in 5 fucking minutes. Well, you go through even quicker if you bet like a lunatic, but um, people that have that severe addiction, yeah, I mean it's straight money, and you can never gamble enough. It's not like there's a limit. So it does make sense because with alcohol or drugs, whether you like it or not, you can only do so much of either. But gambling, you could gamble billions. I mean, you could gamble any amount of money. It's got to be bad. It's got to be bad. I personally, listen, I love gambling, but I hate gambling. Like, in other words, I enjoy the fun of going to the casino. Like, I got a casino 10 minutes from here, and it's a pretty nice one. It really is. They have 32 cable, 32 table games, roulette, craps, blackjack, all kinds of fucking poker, everything. And thousands of slots and all that. But I can't. You don't understand how much I fucking hate losing money. I hate losing money. That's why slots aren't really for me. I'll play them here and there, but I could go to a roulette table and bet like a reasonable person and play on $100 for 3 hours sometimes. That's my thing. Once that 100 is up, I'm out. I hate losing money. I'll beat myself up for fucking days. Me and Shannon went one time and we lost a total of about $500. And I'm telling you, it was about 3 months till I got over that. I couldn't. $500. I was like, oh my god, I can't do it. Yo,
Going on, my man? How you doing?
what's up, bro?
Sorry, I'm having some allergies, but yeah, I figured, bro. I'm alone today, so I would share a little bit of my situation and what happened with me, if you didn't mind.
No, bro, I've been waiting for you to. Absolutely.
Yeah, well, with my situation, it was kind of one of the typical scenarios when as a young adult and even as a teenager, I never really did drugs, bro. I mean, I was around people doing cocaine, ecstasy, and it was just never for me, dude. I never really wanted to do it because I didn't want to like lose control. I just, maybe I was afraid. I just was never into it. But then I think when I was maybe 30, I was going through a divorce and just going through all the motions with that. And, I actually had hurt my back. I have like, degenerative disc disease, whatever, herniated discs. And I
Yeah.
went to a doctor, and, he was one of these old school doctors that really would just prescribe you anything. And he gave me a prescription for Norco, which is, Vicodin.
Yeah.
He gave me 120, and then he gave me refills for 2 other months.
Yeah.
So I kind of started, I took them as prescribed at first. I took them one every 6 hours, but then, you see how they're kind of making you feel good. It's a little bit of an escape. And then before you know it, bro, I'm going every month, and not taking one at a time, taking six at a time. You know what I'm saying? Seven at a time, eight at a time, because your tolerance builds so high. And let me tell you, I always say the worst thing to be is a functioning addict, because nobody knew. I was able to go to work every day. I still did everything I did. Never really had a consequence as far as it affecting my job or my family or anything like that. Also, I thought, and it was bad, dude, because it just lingered. And like you said, dude, once you, it's not just even just the physical withdrawals. It's also your brain goes into like a dopamine deficit where it stops producing the dopamine in your body, in your brain. So even when you get through all the little physical withdrawal things, you don't know what to do with yourself. It's hard to sit with yourself. For me, it was the boredom, you know what I'm saying,
Yeah.
that I would feel, and maybe like the depression almost, because that dopamine just wasn't in my brain anymore. And so I was doing them for a long time. Like I would take breaks and then I'd go back to it. Something would happen or whatever, my back or whatever, and I'd go back to it. Especially, like I said, during my divorce, dude, I kind of isolated a little bit, and I really didn't care if I had a couple painkillers and a glass of wine, and that was like an escape for me. But I started noticing how it was affecting my decision making and my attitude and my personality. And then I remember one day I was out of them completely, out of them completely. And I'm sure everybody who's had an addiction does this. You start looking through all your pants pockets, your jacket pockets. You start seeing, trying to find and see if you lost one, because there was a couple times where I was like, oh shit, you know. And I remember it was a summer day, dude. It was hot, and I'm looking through my dresser drawer, and there was, it was a mirror on top of the dresser, and I got a glimpse of myself, and I was sweaty, and I just looked fucking pathetic. And I said, "Holy shit, man! Is this what I've turned into? Like, really?" You know? And that it was kind of like an epiphany for me. And I'm not going to say I never took one again after that, but that was when I kind of started to end it. I tried to figure out ways to get through the withdrawals, and I just really I wanted to do it for my kids too, because even though, like I said, I was still a good dad, they never saw me doing it, because my little thing was I would do it at night. Everybody was in bed. I didn't do them during the day, but I'd do them at night. That was like my little treat, But the long-term effects, even after stopping using it, I mean, I feel like the addict brain never goes away. That's why they say, like, you're always an addict, because it really never goes away. For me, it never does. There's still something in your brain that you need this instant gratification. So that's why a lot of addicts end up being, they smoke more, they drink more coffee, they have to get into something for that little bit of a feeling, of being intoxicated almost.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, man, it was the worst thing too with those pills is that if you're taking Percocet or Norco or anything that's mixed with acetaminophen, you're banging your liver up so bad from that acetaminophen, dude. You can get poisoning from that shit, And
Yeah, absolutely.
it went on for like 3 years, bro, and it went by so fast. When they say it's a slippery slope, that really is a good way to explain it, because you start out small and then you just go. Luckily, I never went to heroin or never, dabbled in anything like that, because in my head I was still okay. I was telling myself I wasn't an addict, but everybody does that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was tough, dude. And that's why I understand people who and it gave me a new understanding of addiction, because I there was a stigma in my mind for addicts, but somebody like me, who I came from a good family, I had a good job, education, this and that, and look what happened to me, as an adult. People don't understand it can happen to anybody. So when people judge people and call them scumbags and lowlifes for being an addict, just wait till it happens to you, because with these doctors nowadays, it can happen so fucking easy, bro. It's crazy.
Yeah, bro. And like you said about that acetaminophen shit, bro, like I read a thing a while ago about kids now, teenagers, they're doing a new thing where they think if they take enough Tylenol before they drink, then they won't be hungover the next day. And there's fucking 17 and 18-year-old kids on liver transplant lists.
Yeah, that's
now
crazy, man.
because of this shit. You know what I mean? Like, bro, and the other thing you said about the checking your pockets and shit, bro.
Oh, you remember that shit?
Oh, well, this was my thing. I was always a drug dealer. So my thing was as soon as I would re up, I would bag up, which I actually stopped doing later on in life because it's just not smart if you get raided or anything to have all your shit bagged up like that.
Mm-hmm.
But there was a time when I would bag up right away, So I get a couple of ounces, I'm bagging dozens of 50s, grams, whatever. You know what I mean? I'm bagging them up and I would stash them. You know what I mean? So I didn't run out often. I would usually re up long before I came close to running out. But the times I did run out, or if I decided I'm going to stop and then a month later I got a craving, I would be fucking convinced that one of those 50s or a bag of them was stashed somewhere in a fucking pocket in one of my shirts or something in the
Uh,
closet, in a jacket pocket, under the mattress, fucking
yeah,
somewhere. I'd be checking drawers. Like I know I put some in here, and I don't think I ever sold those. You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
you
and
get
dude, and that's the
convinced,
thing.
bro.
You don't realize how that's such a crazy thing to do if you don't have an addiction, and if you see somebody else doing, you're like, what the fuck? But for you, when you're an addict, that it's a totally normal thing. Like the things you think are normal that you do, the decisions you make in order to get the drugs or while you're on the drugs, it's out of control. Once you stop doing them, you're like, wow, I cannot believe I was that person. You know what I mean? But it went on for like 3 years. But I mean, it's been a long time now. It's been, I don't know, 8, 9 years since I messed with them, and I would never even want to go back, dude. Like even last time I hurt, I think I dislocated my knee a couple months ago, and I told them, no, I don't want any kind of painkillers or anything like that, bro, because I know how it is, dude. You get a little taste of that shit, and the next day you want it again. You know that euphoria. It's it's crazy.
Absolutely, bro.
It's
Yeah, I had
crazy.
a doctor. I had a doctor about 2 years ago. I was starting to have issues with sleep again, and he fucking offered me Ativan. And I'm like,
Mm.
bro, are you looking through my file? Like, I'm not taking Ativan, bro.
Yeah,
No, I was like, I don't want no fucking benzo.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, it's scary, bro. Because like you said, what do you do now? Like, God forbid, someone, we'll just say someone gets a serious injury, and they've already had problems with opiates. What do they do now? I mean, what do you suffer with the pain? Do you
no,
relapse? What do you do? I mean, people are stuck. That's what's so scary.
I know, but that's the thing. The one thing now, it went from one extreme to another. You go to a hospital most of the time, and you have a bad injury. They're really not going to prescribe you opiates. Like it's very hard to get them because of what's been going on. So that's kind of good, but at the same time, yeah, the people who really need it, they can't get it. And look, like look what we were talking about, how with the whole thing with like Purdue, and when they came out with Oxy, how they were lying to people and telling them it wasn't addictive, and they were
Yep.
prescribing people like 100 milligrams or more a day. It's out of control, dude. But listen, I worked in downtown Newark for 7 years with my job before I transferred, and all I saw all day, I'm a white boy walking downtown because that's what I like to do. I'd walk around, I'd buy some sunglasses or whatever, and the whole time, Suboxone, Suboxone, Suboxone. You want this? You want that? And I'd see these kids get off the bus from the surrounding areas, these white kids, and they just look like zombies, bro. And you'd see them follow some dude into an alley and buy heroin, and the cops were right there across the street, and they don't do shit. They
Yeah.
don't do
No,
nothing. They
they don't
really don't
care,
care.
bro.
It's a sad thing, bro. I've had so many kids that I went to high school with that died from opiates, bro. I could count them on two hands. It is really, I think, one of the worst. Like alcohol, I think is really, really bad because it's always there. It's so socially acceptable, and you can go to the store and get it anytime. But opiates are just it's a different animal. It really does change your brain. I think it really does. You know,
Without a doubt.
so
Yeah.
you
Well,
know.
I think it literally does change your brain. I mean, that's
Mhm,
just, what I mean? You're never the same again, and that's the
mhm.
problem. But
Yeah,
let me ask you, bro, do you do anything anymore? Do you drink or anything?
I do. Yeah, I'll drink. I will. take like a micro dose of mushrooms once in a while because it's supposed to be, good for you. My brother grows them. He's like a hippie, and it just kind of gives you energy. But I can't really go into the whole psychedelic thing. That's not for me. But I might do that. I'm not a big weed smoker, just because for me, if you don't smoke weed all the time, you're not going to enjoy it. Like if you just smoke once in a blue, for me, I just get paranoid. So it's not really for me. I don't get tempted to do like opiates when I do other things, but I'm not a big drinker anyway. You know,
Yeah.
I try to do other shit, man, and I just realized that anything I do, especially if it's an addiction, there's a really high chance that my kids are gonna end up doing it too. I mean, that's how it goes. My dad had a prescription for Percocet forever because he has serious back injuries, and I would take his once in a while when I was younger, just here and there. And I'm telling you, it it happens. It's so common. They see their parent doing it, or they find out they are, and they think that it's acceptable, and they'll be okay, and they end up doing it too. And I didn't want to ever risk that. Especially now, opiates and Xanax is in every freaking rap song that these kids listen to, and it's scary.
Oh, yeah, we were saying that on the show the other day, bro. It's like our music was about selling drugs, and
Yeah,
this music today is all about doing drugs.
doing drugs.
I listen to some of this shit, and I'm like, what the fuck, man? All the rappers. I mean, and it's, I don't know. It's weird that the whole opiate thing and shit. For some reason, it's odd to me that
Yeah.
it kind of what's the word I'm looking for? It kind of entered the hood scene and shit.
Oh my
You know what I
god.
mean? This is what generally a white boy type of thing. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But even
Yeah.
all the black rappers now and shit, they're talking about everything is about
Molly.
fucking, yeah, bro. Like, what the fuck is going on? Listen, call me a conspiracy theorist, but shit like that, I just feel like there's got to be some plan behind this. Like this just isn't happening for, you know what I mean? Just
Well,
randomly.
I think so too, bro. Look how the regulations are they're tough now with getting opiates. Like when I used to get that prescription, this guy giving me 120 for a month. I mean, who the hell needs that? And then they really restricted it. Was it the FDA? And I'm sure that pisses off those big pharmaceutical companies, because when it comes down to it, I think they control so much. They control people in politics, laws that are passed, and I'm sure they don't mind if it's continuing to be advertised in music constantly.
No.
Doesn't seem like anyone's trying to stop it, but yeah, it's a scary thing, bro. And I just figured I'd share it because um, like I said, it can happen to anyone. Just because you see somebody that is doing well at their job and doing everything they have to do, and they're productive, does not mean they don't have a problem behind closed doors. Because one thing everybody knows that's an addict is you don't share that you have an addiction with. For me at least, it's like all you do is lie about it. You hide it. The only people you really talk about your addiction with is other people you're doing drugs with or getting drugs from. It's like living a double life. You know what I mean? You're constantly lying and hiding it from people
Yeah.
because you're ashamed, and that's a shitty way to live.
It's a
It's a shitty,
horrible way to live, bro.
And I
Without a
wasn't
doubt.
able to talk about it for such a long time just because I was so embarrassed. But then once I realized that I shouldn't be, and I talked about it to a couple people, it felt good, bro, because it really isn't anything to be ashamed of, man. If you turn it around and you don't let it completely ruin your life, it's you should be proud of yourself, man, because it takes so much to get off of something like that. I give anybody credit who gets off heroin, because that is so hard and so easy to get. You
Oh
know,
yeah.
it's it's very rough. So and anybody can do it, and anybody can get their life back in order. It's never too late. You just got people that do opiates sometimes are the biggest pussies because they don't want to go through that withdrawal. They're afraid to shit their pants and sweat for a couple weeks, but figure out a way to get through it, and you'll know how to feel normal again. You know.
Yeah.
I was never one for Suboxone, because for me Suboxone it's super addicting. I've seen people, it has a half life, that most opiates don't. So it stays in your system longer and it takes a lot longer to get off of. But for some people, hey, if that's what they need to stay off heroin, I get it. But for me, I would never want to do that.
Yeah, it's the lesser of two evils, but if you don't have to, then you know,
Well, some doctors will
obviously,
have people on it for the rest of their lives, and now
yeah.
they have a patch now, or it's like, and they like put it under someone's skin, I
Hmm.
think. And it's supposed to be a way for them to kind of get it, and then they wean them off of it. But that shit gets abused too. You see people selling it in the street all the time. They sell
Yeah.
Suboxone like crazy. When I was in Newark, I didn't even know what the hell they were talking about. Subs, I thought they were talking about sandwiches when they were asking me about what are you talking about, But yeah, I just figured I'd share, bro.
Yeah, listen, I think this question is for you. Donnie said, how long would it say it took for your dopamine and serotonin levels to get back to normal after you got clean?
I, man, it's hard to say because sometimes I still feel like they're not normal, but I think it takes quite some time, man. I think you need a good year or more. You know what I mean? It doesn't come back right away just because you stop taking them for a couple weeks. You know what I mean? Your body has to really, for your body to maintain homeostasis again. It's hard. It's really hard. You're beating the shit out of your brain. So it takes a while, and some people, like I said, I know a lot of people, there's a little stigma with it, but some people, I have a friend who took kratom, and even though that can be addicting, he took that to get through some of the withdrawals. The only problem is people continue to do it constantly, and guess what, it becomes the same kind of thing. You're using something man-made to put in your brain to kind of make you feel good. You have to figure out a way to try to do it yourself, but it takes quite some time. I think it takes quite some time because sometimes, dude, I don't know if it's boredom or I just, it's hard to sit with yourself completely sober sometimes when you're used to doing drugs. You know what I mean, dude? You gotta
Yeah.
know what I'm talking about.
Well,
So
it's funny. It's like I always say, bro. Like, I know people who have to be on something. You know what I
yes,
mean? Like it doesn't even have to be something they like. I always tell this story about a friend of mine. His name was Sean. This guy used to bang a bundle of dope before our 8 hour shift every night. You know what I
wow,
mean? It was nothing for him. And then when he got, clean, he would fucking bro, it was always something. It was when he got clean from heroin, I should say. He was doing coke, he was shooting that. He was smoking crack. He did bath salts one fucking time. He's lost his mind. He comes to work one day smelling like weed. I'm like, bro, you always told me you hate weed. And his exact words were, bro, I have to be on something.
yeah, yeah.
I
I
was like,
think
Jesus Christ.
I think sometimes people who really have such on drugs long term, they might need to go to see like a psychiatrist and possibly get some kind of medication. You know what I mean? Even if it's not long term, but for short term to kind of get your brain going again, because the depression and the anxiety is real that you suffer after all that long term drug use. It's difficult. So some people need to get on something sometimes. I never went to NA or AA like you, bro. I just was never into that. But I went to a meeting with a friend of mine uh, one time to see her speak, and I could see how it does help people because you're in a room full of people that have gone through the same thing. They're not going to judge you, and they support each other, and that's great. It just wasn't for me, you know.
Yeah. No,
So
I understand completely. Yeah.
it just wasn't for me, bro. But yeah, man, I just figured I'd come on real quick, just laying around. I'm happy you're doing the show, bro. You're doing a great job.
Bro, listen, I'm glad you did this. I've been wanting you to for a while. So,
Yeah,
and
well,
listen, even your story that you just told, it helped people. I'm looking at the chat. A lot of people are thanking you and stuff for sharing the story. So
no
it's a good
problem,
thing you
man.
did, and I appreciate it, man.
Listen, guys, don't be afraid to talk about something you went through just because you think people are going to judge you or there's a stigma, because screw them. All those people who say stuff are hiding something that they're doing. Trust me. Everybody has a vice, and it's
Yeah.
the strong, and you guys got to be proud of yourself if you can get through something like that, because it's extremely hard with all the other stresses in life. to be able to get through an addiction and kick it. It makes you stronger. It makes you stronger, and you got to be proud of yourself for that kind of stuff. So,
Yeah, absolutely. I
all
agree.
right, bro. Thanks, man. Everybody, have a good day. I'll be watching in the chat.
All right, bro. Thanks
All right, bro.
again.
No problem. Later.
All right. Peace. Good. Mustache Pete shared his story. I've been wanting him to do that for a while, but it's not always easy for him time wise and stuff. So, and he's a strong dude. Look, I mean, he made the right choice, and he dealt with his opiate addiction in the right way, I guess you could say. And listen, if he still does other shit and drinks and stuff like that, listen, I understand that because there is situations like Mustache Pete's where you're not necessarily an addict. It's one specific thing. So that's why I don't really knock people like, oh, well, you're supposed to be clean and sober, but you do this. Maybe you can do that. You know what I mean? Maybe you can. I mean, for me, I'll tell you, my situation is very simple. I was never into drugs. I was into cocaine. That's it. And alcohol. That's it. I tried other shit, like I said, acid, ecstasy. I did mushrooms once, shit like that. But I liked powder, cocaine, and alcohol. That's it. So I don't feel like I have to smoke weed or do anything like that. You know what I mean? I have no problem being perfectly clear-headed. But the things that are most commonly used, like Mustache Pete says, he has a drink every now and then. I understand that. I mean, if you can do it, do it. I can't do that, but I'm aware of it. You know what I mean? So I'm aware of the fact that I can't. And Tony Ducks, that would be great, bro. I'd love for you to come on and tell your story. Absolutely. Any of you, anytime we're doing these addiction recovery shows. Mary Ryan, heroin out of here. Oh, okay. The Sit Down, a Crime History podcast. I know this is an addiction episode, but I am disgusted with We Push Back. Me too. And I'll tell you what, Jeff, if you're free tonight and you're not doing a show, I plan on doing a show around 9:30, 10 if you want to come on. I'd like to have some people on tonight, you know what I mean? But I definitely like to have you on and discuss some of this horse shit. You know what I mean? I like to get your opinion on things. I've been disgusted with them for a long time. Bunch of fucking lowlifes. How are you, Shinebox, by the way? Good to see you here. Casey Robinson, I always use my name and where I live. Like FBS said, if somebody in need puts out a call, I try to help. There you go. Coke and heroin are two different animals. Oh, my God, completely. Yeah, completely. There's no physical withdrawal or anything from cocaine. You know what I mean? It's and there's, of course, a million other differences. That's true, Mob Entertainment Group. BK Sal Crook. Most people would admit looking back on drug. Wait a minute. Most people would admit looking back on drug their use and say I had more bad times getting high than good times. Oh, yeah. Without a doubt. I mean, I think you'd be lying to yourself. Unless there's something I don't know about, unless there's some drug out there that, you just always have a good experience. And maybe you're the kind of person that can handle it that way. But no, mine, I'll say, listen, even if it wasn't negative days or certain like, oh, I used last night, I used 24 hours a day at times. There was a stretch of like a year or two where I was using at least cocaine 24 hours a day without a single day break. And listen, if I was doing coke, I was usually drinking too. So, but the time periods altogether were horrible. You know what I mean? Every day, it was, like every now and then there'd be a good day. Not every now and then there'd be a bad day. It was mostly bad. Sounds good, Jeff. I don't think we push back vets any of its members. No, of course they don't. Probably a bunch of rats. All right, so we're getting into the mob tube thing. So listen, guys, I think I'm gonna wrap it up. Hold on. Oh, okay. Yeah, I think I'm gonna wrap it up for now. An hour and 40 minutes. I hope you guys got a lot out of this. I know I did. I appreciate you all being here for this. 126 people is actually really good for an addiction and recovery show. So thank you all for being here, really. You don't have a breeze FBS. I'm not sure what you mean. Not sure what that means, Mary Ryan. But yeah, thank you all for being here. This is fantastic. Thank you, Mustache Pete, for sharing your story. You're awesome, bro. And listen, I commend you, and I have a lot of respect for you and how you handled your situation, and just the man you are today. I think Mustache Pete is someone to be admired all around. Great father, you know, he's a career guy. He's a good friend. I can tell you that for sure. And I have a lot of respect and love for Mustache Pete. So that's it, guys. Listen, pay attention to this ticker. National Addiction Hotline. Write that number down. Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. Easy to remember, but write it down anyway. It's as simple as 988. It's just like dialing 911. All you got to do is pick up the phone, 988, and somebody will be there to help you. Okay? If there's anything I could ever do for anyone who's struggling, let me know. I will do everything I can for you. Let me just shout out. This is very nice. Dana just sent $20 for been very sick but watching. Dana, I was wondering where you were. I'm sorry to hear that. I hope you feel better soon. I'm getting over it myself too, so it sucks, but I hope you get over it soon, and I hope your family as well. Thank you for the $20. So back to what I was saying. Jesus Christ, common sense. Back to what I was saying. I'm here for anybody I can help. That's all I can say. And you know how to reach me. Trust me. At this point, everybody knows how to reach me. Fatbald Italian at Gmail. If you don't know any other way. All right, guys. So I'm gonna go. I'll be back on tonight at some point because I got to do my usual thing. You know that. If I'm not, for whatever reason, it's because I just decided, you know what, I'd rather sleep or something. I don't know. But I most likely will be. So thank you guys for everything. Stay strong. Continue on the road to recovery. If that's what you're in the process or in the process of, if you're still struggling with addiction, listen, do anything you can to get yourself help. And take my advice, getting away is the best choice you can make. Get into a facility, get away from everything, stay there as long as you can, and start your life over. Okay? As Shanna would say, new beginnings. Right? So thank you for everything, guys. I love you all. And until next time, salute.